We're short on battery on these cameras, so we have to get going.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine. No, just kidding.
Done. Podcast over.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
Feast or Famine. I love how you're like
Famine.
giving a completely different delivery every week.
time. I don't know which one I like the most.
I don't even know what all you've done.
I
But
don't
we're
know.
the Youngs.
We're the Youngs.
And this is the Feast or Famine podcast.
Feast or Famine. We just
Feast
had a
or
feast.
Famine. We did. It was lunchtime.
It was really good.
Oh, I had too
Shout
much
out
of a burger.
to the main house on Main Street in St. Charles.
Main on Main.
Delicious.
They're not actually open yet, but they are open.
Yeah.
It's like a soft, like, hey, come in.
It is
but we haven't
delicious.
opened yet, technically.
Yeah. Awesome. Today's a beautiful day. It's windy outside. We're
It's
podcasting.
windy for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's Monday, podcast day. Killing it.
Is it always a Monday that we're in podcasting?
Almost always, yes.
So we have a podcast come out on Mondays, and we also record podcasts on Mondays.
On Mondays, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Should we trick them into thinking this is live? So then if they're like walking by on a Monday and they see that we're podcasting and then they go to our page and like, oh my gosh, they just did this.
I don't know what you're saying.
Nonsense.
Okay. What are we talking about today, babe? This one is something that you've wanted to talk about for a while, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know how to like address it, but I think we're just going to do it and see where it goes.
We're just going to go full force.
And see where it goes.
Okay. What are we talking about?
Hustle culture.
Yeah?
And I feel like there's different viewpoints on hustle culture as a whole. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time to address those things. I think
what is like the overall perspective of hustle culture?
I think the overall perspective, I can't talk today.
It's okay.
I think the overall idea is that hustle culture is inherently bad.
Give an example. Like you just hustle.
Like life isn't about just like working nonstop, and people are saying, you got to hustle to make it.
Yeah.
But hustling, like you don't want to like do that at the expense of something else. Or,
Yeah.
I can't think of the best analogy for it, but like in general.
Like work until you're dead.
Not necessarily. Well, I think that might be where it stems from. Mm-hmm. Like if you're always hustling and grinding, when do you have time for anything else?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the thing that happened that made me say, you know what? People always talk crap on just hustle, the hustle.
Yeah, I would love to hear like your perspective on it, because I think what you're saying is like there's a negative connotation with hustle culture in general, but you have a different take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're building something, there will 100% of the time be a part of that journey that you have no other choice but to hustle. Mm-hmm. Because when you're building something, most of the time it's just you.
And whether you were building a business or not, I think in 2020 specifically, a lot of people saw that hustle culture.
You mean like that's when it started to become like, oh my gosh.
You were saying that there's periods of time in your life when you're building a business that you have to hustle really hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that I think a lot of people saw that maybe for the first time in 2020.
Oh, how necessary it was.
Yes.
Because if you're not hustling and something like the pandemic happens and things get shut down and out of your control.
Yeah.
You're
scrambling and you have like, that's that period of time. I was just coming up with an example.
Yeah.
Of when I know that we were hustling really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we're always kind of hustling. We're kind of
yes.
in a constant state of like moderate hustle all the time.
But I feel like we have a work hard, play hard mindset. We work so we can like enjoy the things that we like to enjoy in life.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is that some people are like, I'm never going to enjoy the things I want to enjoy until I've reached a certain point. And so I'm going to hustle for 10 years until I can, until I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I just looked it up, and the internet says that toxic hustle culture, in short, is a pervasive attitude in today's society that glorifies working hard and long hours, often at the expense of mental and physical health. While I kind of agree with that statement,
What you talked about, burnout with David.
that is what leads to burnout.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that hustle culture is inherently bad.
Yeah.
Because a person that hustles like that in that way and has the ability to work hard in those long hours to make things happen are ultimately the ones that are going to make things happen.
Yeah, I agree 1000%.
But it doesn't take, you can't just do that.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
You have to have a discipline over your entire life.
Yeah.
For example, in order for it not to affect your mental and physical health, you have to prioritize your mental and physical health. Because at the end of the day, as a business owner, how you treat yourself is how you're going to ultimately end up treating your business. And a success in those areas is going to equal a success in the business.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're working your ass off and hustling for 3 months at a time to make sure that you can open up this new business or do whatever it is, then it ultimately sets you up for success and for you to have more free time in the long run.
Right.
Hopefully.
I don't necessarily think it's about the free time aspect. I think it's more about like the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
And that your mental health is taking a toll by constantly being at that state of hustle. But as a business owner and an entrepreneurial mind,
I think it's impossible for us not to.
that's where you thrive and that's
Yeah.
where you want to be.
Yeah.
So yes, you're building this business and you're hustling your ass off to build this for 3 months.
Yeah.
And the ultimate goal for any business is to make it self-sustainable. Once it's self-sustainable, you don't have to do as much work with it. But if you have free time because you're not hustling anymore in that business, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to create another business
Yeah. Yeah.
and hustle on that one.
Yeah.
So really it's about, and every entrepreneur wants to diversify and have multiple streams of income and multiple business ventures. So the hustle never really stops.
No, for sure not.
It's about balancing the hustle.
Yeah.
So you can still be in hustle mode all the time, but you have to balance it.
Yeah.
Like our family knows that is how we are,
Right.
and they accept it, but we also make time for them.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's like you have to make time for the things that are important to people. And like you said, like the mental health and stuff like that. Like that's so important to make time for.
And that just comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
Hustle culture is only toxic if you're not disciplined to manage it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you have to be disciplined to get up, to check off these important tasks like your physical health, like going to the gym, exercising. That alone helps your mental health.
Yeah.
And you have to have the discipline to get the work done in the time you need to get it done. Because, let's be real, most people that work an 8-hour day, work in quotes, I'm air quoting if you're listening, are actually only probably working 4 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling really convicted here.
Why?
Just because like I feel like with the time management and like I definitely could improve. I feel like sometimes, and I don't know if this is like the Enneagram 3 in me, sometimes I feel like I'm not hustling hard enough. Like there's more that I could be doing for sure. But then I like have that toxic like thought in the back of my brain on like the negative side of like hustling, like don't overdo it because like I don't want to risk burnout. Like I don't want to risk doing too much.
Do you think it's that? Or do you think it's like society like drilling it into your head that you shouldn't?
I think it's like I think it's an internal conflict. Like I just feel like I'm never doing enough. And I feel guilty like when I take a break or like when I'm like, I need a mental health day or I'm like, I'm not feeling it anymore today and I give myself grace, which I think all those things are like super important to make sure that you're not like going absolutely insane. But I feel like if I do it too much, then I'm not hustling hard enough and I could be doing more.
So I know recently you've kind of gotten away from this, but when you were making lists for yourselves and checking off all those lists, did you feel that way then?
Yeah, I still make lists. Have you been in my office lately?
I spent a lot of time in my office.
I definitely have lists. I will say like this is a weird season, right? Like my nose itches. We are having a little bit of a slower start to the wedding season. And also our wedding season started out kind of different than what it typically does. So my lists are not as detail oriented as what they typically are. And I will say that that is giving me like a little bit of
Anxiety?
not anxiety, but it's like it's not allowing me to be super proactive because I'm not staying on track with things and I'm taking more breaks.
Because you're procrastinating more.
I don't know what happened this year, but I am definitely procrastinating this year, which I get on to you about a lot. And I almost think it's like the last 2 years, and we talk about this all the time on here, but the last 2 years have been so easy almost in this industry and running this business because it was the wedding boom. And so I think that I kind of got a little bit lazy and now I got too comfortable. And
Well, I'm glad you said that. Keep
I'm
going.
starting to remember what it's like to feel like to hustle really hard again. And as things are changing with like social media and like TikTok, it's just adding more to my plate. When last year I didn't have to do too much other than like my actual job, which was easy. And now the hustle is different. It looks different.
So I think that's where the hustle ideologies come into play, is people want things to be comfortable. And when they fall into that comfort zone, rather than continuing to hustle because they find this peace and everything's easy and they're not going to push the envelope because it's just, they're going to work for it right now. I mean, let's be real. We didn't have to work for a lot of bookings for the last 2 years.
No, we didn't.
Because there were just so many people
Which we are
getting
so
married.
like, that sounds really icky to say it like that, but like, of course we did our marketing and like we did the things that we needed to do to get bookings, but because it was the wedding boom, like inquiries were out the ass. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. And now with
So thankful for it.
now with the downturn, because the boom's over,
Yeah.
and now we're seeing the back end of that, in addition to the economy being just in the tank. People are still getting married. People are still spending money on weddings, but it's not comparable to the last 2 years.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
And I think if you get into that, if you stay in that I was comfortable mode, you're going to fail. It's just a matter of fact. You're going to fail.
People grow when they become uncomfortable.
That's the only time growth happens, is when you put yourself in a position to be uncomfortable.
Yep.
Growth comes from discomfort.
Yep.
100% of the time. Let's think about it even as, because we just saw that episode on Grey's Anatomy, because you're binging Grey's Anatomy again. When a kid's growing and their joints and limbs are achy, what do they call that?
Growing pains.
Growing pains. Because growing is painful,
Yeah.
physically and in business. When you're growing, that means you're doing something that's changing what you were doing before,
Yep.
which is not comfortable.
Well, and like
Because change isn't comfortable.
Right. This is like a whole different like topic that we could talk about, but if we're talking about growth here and like how it's painful, I mean, when you're running a business, you're constantly growing in your mentality and your nature and your emotions. And that is also hard. Like you are trying to, because business to me is personal.
Right.
There's nothing more personal about something that I do than how I run my business. And sometimes you have to change things and you have to do things that are unlike what you've done before. And it's not easy to change your mindset. It's not easy to be vulnerable. But ultimately that is what helps you succeed.
Right. And I think all of these things encompass what hustle culture is.
Yeah.
Because in general, hustle culture means doing the things you have to do to be successful. And that means working that time and those hours and being uncomfortable generally
Yeah.
to get to where you're trying to get.
Right.
So in general, all of that is hustle culture.
Yeah.
So I would argue that being a successful entrepreneur is inherently hustle culture.
Yeah. I mean, we have friends that are like, we have one friend that specifically your friend who's like, dude, we haven't hung out in like months. And it's like, you are like, you see that I work I work until 8 p.m. every night. And you probably could afford to work a little bit later, honestly.
Yeah.
It would push you probably a little bit further ahead than where you are now. But we also, because we know this about ourselves. We also call it at a certain time at night so we can spend time together.
Right. Because I will literally work until midnight.
And sometimes during certain seasons of our business, that's necessary. And, you know, we'll communicate that to one another. Hey, it's going to be a late work night. So,
and our family understands that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I hate that they understand that.
Right.
And that they have, it's like not that we don't prioritize them, but like we have to say no to them more often than we would otherwise.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. But it's putting in the time now. So see, I know you're like, it's not necessarily a time. For me, it's a time
No, the
thing.
time is part of it.
Like I want to put the time in now where I'm in the mindset I'm doing it. I might as well work 2 more hours, get the job done. That way I don't have to worry about it later. And it ultimately sets me up for success down the road. But working late, having late night hours, and then getting up in the morning and doing the same thing like all over again, or maybe just slightly different, that's not comfortable. Like you don't want to go to bed at 2 a.m. every night, but
there are periods of time you have to.
You have to. I mean, we were like that in 2021 with edits. Like it was insane.
Yeah. I'd edit until it's time to go to bed. And I hate that. I'm one of those people that has to sit on the couch and just kind of like decompress.
I was gonna say digest, and I'm like, digest is not the right word.
Digest is what you do after you eat food.
Yeah.
Before I go to bed, because I don't want to like work, sleep, because I'm not gonna sleep.
Yeah. Need to turn your brain off.
Yeah, and that's also another reason why like going to the gym in the morning is good, because you've already worked all night.
Yeah.
Or even into the night, not necessarily late all night, and then you wake up. You don't want to immediately get back to work.
Yeah.
I'd rather do something to break that up. That's going to be for me, which is what that is.
Would you say like, okay, is like hustle culture for you? Is it similar to like when you're working out and you're like, okay, I know that like I'm doing 10 reps of this, but if I just push it to 12, and like that 12th one is the most painful, your legs are shaking like they're going to give out, but like you do it and you're like, hell yes. Like I just pushed it to 12 instead of 10 reps.
I think yes.
Or is that the toxicity part for people? No,
not at all. Because where do you think the term hustle culture came from? Sports.
It's like one more.
Sports.
You got it. Keep going.
In sports, you also hear hustle.
Yeah. Run.
Like that means work harder.
Yeah.
Put more
push.
effort.
Yeah. Push.
In the gym, that's ultimately how you get results. That is where that came from.
Yeah.
Is the hustle in athletics.
Well, isn't there Mr. Exercise Science degree over here? Isn't there something like actually with the muscle that like if you push it to a certain spot of weakness, that's where it like
progressive overload.
Okay. I'm like, oh gosh, forgive me. I don't know what it's called, but I know it's a thing.
Progressive overload is essentially how you build muscle.
Okay. And tell me what that is.
So you push your muscle to the absolute brink.
Yeah.
And then you give it time to rest.
Yeah.
And then you do it again. And then each time you basically are upping your reps, you're upping your
and it's
weight
a quicker,
when you
it's
can.
a quicker like recovery every single time, right?
Not necessarily, because you want to be pushing yourself to that same level each time, but as you're progressing, that level gets harder to achieve.
So like you go up in weight, maybe?
You go up in weight, you go up in reps, you do different workouts, you do different exercises.
But you're pushing it to, you used to use this term.
Pushing it to failure.
To failure, yeah.
Yeah, you basically want to go until you can't go anymore, and then you rest. Which I'll get to that. This is an ironic analogy here, and then you do it again. But
this cannot be misconstrued with burnout, though.
Right, that's not it.
Yeah.
Burnout is when you no longer.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It can be a little convoluted.
It's not burnout though.
Yeah.
Because it's a necessary evil. I mean, essentially. But what I was getting at, the ironic part is, when you do that to your muscles, the growth happens in the rest.
Yeah.
Which is why hustle culture is great, but it's only great if you are disciplined to, you're disciplined with your time.
Yeah.
You can hustle and still take breaks.
Isn't time management like so powerful? I feel like I could be so much better at it.
It's the same way in business. And that's where burnout comes in.
Yeah.
If you don't take those breaks,
you'll never grow.
You'll never grow.
Yeah.
You'll get burnt out.
Yeah.
If you go to the gym and you do bench press Monday, and you push yourself to failure. Then you go in on Tuesday and you do bench press again. It's not going to be a good workout. You're going to get discouraged. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But because your muscles
Need recovery
time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to hustle, add in time to recover. So I work all day. I sit on the couch in the evening to recover.
I sit on the couch.
Or, we go out to dinner, or we go to Herman for a week, for a day. Or
Yeah.
We have those times, but that doesn't mean we're not hustling.
Yeah, for sure.
That's part of the hustle.
That is part of the hustle. That's good. That's good.
The rest and breaks are part of the hustle.
Yeah. And I feel like that is what the mindset behind it's toxic. They're missing that element. They're missing the element of rest is part of the hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boom.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
That's a short one.
Yeah. But I feel like it was really good. That was powerful.
We go from like hour-long episodes to like 15-minute episodes.
Yeah, my nose is itchy. I'm so sorry,
She's
guys.
She's not picking her nose.
I'm not picking my nose, but like allergies, guys. Oh my gosh.
She's picking her nose.
That was pretty good. Did you like that?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any last like points.
Yeah.
Stop calling it toxic hustle culture. I mean, I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point of this whole conversation was stop calling it toxic hustle culture.
Yeah.
Because
it can be for sure.
It can be
but
toxic, like, but then you're not hustling. You're just
working
yourself to death.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be strategic about it.
It's a balance, and it's time management, discipline.
Yeah.
The person that is the most disciplined is the person that's going to win.
So would you say that like some people are like, oh, work-life balance doesn't exist? What would you say to that? Do you think that it exists or no?
Yes and no.
Care to elaborate?
A person who has built a life around building businesses like we do. Work is our life. Building these businesses are our life, and it's so intertwined with our life that our families are involved. And we spend time with our families and still can work at the same time.
Yeah.
And we can just enjoy life to the fullest in all aspects that way. A person that works a 9 to 5 and gets paid a salary and
I would say that they have a work-life balance already scheduled for them.
That is where work-life balance comes in most importantly. I don't think so much as with an entrepreneur life, but with a working just regular 9 to 5 job. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're prioritizing that job over the rest of your life and your family,
yeah,
that's not balance.
Do you think that we would feel differently if we had kids though?
No, because I think our kids would be as intertwined with our businesses as our family is right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
So they'd be just as much part of it. We would prioritize more time with them, but that, again, comes with the time management thing.
But wouldn't that just be work-life balance? In layman's terms?
No, because I don't like that term.
I don't either. I'm just trying to get it.
It is a balance between work and life. But I hate the fact that you're saying work and life as two separate things.
Yeah.
It's only those two separate things for people that are not business owners.
I would agree with you 100%.
If you work a job, for example, person that works for
Boeing.
Edward Jones or Boeing. Let's say Boeing, because there's...
I used to work there.
Say you're an engineer at Boeing.
Okay.
And you have this big project, and you're working all these hours, and you know people that worked crazy hours at Boeing.
Oh, yeah.
They go home, they sleep, they wake up, they do it, they go back to work. If they have a family, they're not seeing their family, they're not talking to their family much. They don't have good work-life balance.
Because they're working overtime.
Work constantly. That's all they do. It's the same way with the movie Hook.
Okay.
Where
are you going with this? Okay, I'm interested.
Who's in is it Robin Williams?
Okay.
He is so, I think he was a lawyer, I think. But he worked so much, he would make these promises to his kids to go to his baseball game or whatever, and never make it. And he'd show up to the baseball game, and the game's long over.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
And that's like the whole gist of the movie, is kind of about work-life balance. And
isn't Hook like
Peter Pan?
Yeah.
This is like a different
maybe
adaptation
I've never
of it.
seen that. I don't think I've ever seen
because he ends up going to Neverland. He finds out that he used to be Peter Pan, and he prioritized.
The dad?
Yeah, Robin Williams.
I've never. Okay, I don't think
You
I've
need
seen.
You need to see Hook.
Okay. Apparently.
So that movie has a lot to say about work-life balance in a sense of not being a business owner.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't as popular then.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
I would say that term has no place in a business owner's, in an entrepreneurial
I agree with you.
conversation.
I think that's good. I mean, yeah, you pretty much summed it up. It sounds negative to say it like that. Like our work is our life, but we don't mean it in any negative connotation at all because we love what we do.
I agree. And I think
we love being
some
business
owners don't do it like we do. So I guess there would be a reason to say that.
Yeah.
Because they don't make the point to
Well, all of our businesses are very personal based businesses. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really good. I like that.
Okay.
Cool.
Any other comments, questions, concerns, thoughts? General words?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty good. I like
General
it.
worditude?
No, it's good.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, it was a short one. So if you have anything to say about it,
Yeah.
anything at all, go to YouTube and comment if you're not on YouTube already.
Do you have a work-life balance?
What is work-life
What does that mean to
balance
you?
to you?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a
I feel like it is different for some people.
very
you know?
convoluted phrase, word. It's
Yeah.
not really a word, but phrase. And I think it really has a different definition
Yeah.
to lots of different people.
Yeah. For sure.
So tell me about your work-life balance and what it means to you in the comments. If you liked this podcast, give it a thumbs up. Share it if you liked it enough that you want to tell your friends about it. And we will see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Peace.